Hello, Neil here. Just want to talk about where we find ourselves right now with the Anfield Wrap in the aftermath of the tragic death of Diogo Jota and of Andre Silva. The fact of the matter is this: we've given the opportunity to the contributors to pay their respects, and what we've also looked to do is to create the space for those respects to sit. Now, at this point in time, we feel as though we need to return to some extent of our regular programming. I want to be clear about that. What we're not rushing into is things like, for instance, transfer shows or gutters or anything like that at this point in time. What we will do is have a look at what other teams have been up to in the market whilst we've been trying to deal with the aftermath of what happened to Diogo and to Andre. But what we're also going to start to do is to get some other Anfield Wrap shows back across the course of the rest of this week. So from Tuesday today, right the way through until Friday, we will be returning to our more regular style of programming. We will have a What Football Means to Me coming out at some point. We've got a couple of new shows that we've been trialling and we've got lined up for you as well. And then by about Friday, we're going to return to, for instance, a Friday night. We're going to have an AFQ and I may even get something out there on central defenders and stats moving forward. That's what we're looking at, and that's the ideal going through this week. Into next week, we're going to allow ourselves to be guided by the football. We still don't know at the time at which I record this whether or not Liverpool will play the pre-season friendly against Preston. And whatever those footballers decide, we all back 100%. I've got no shadow of a doubt about that. But from that point as well, we will need to engage with the reality of where Liverpool's summer is. If a lot of this seems as though it's a little bit callous or a little bit heartless, the truth of the matter is that everyone deals with these things at different paces. So if you, yourself, are not interested in anything else that we put out for now, I completely understand that. If you yourself have been thinking, I'd like them to stop doing these tribute shows, I find them difficult to listen to and I'd like things to get back to normal, I understand that as well, and I'd like to think that we all understand each other's position. We are, after all, a community with the Anfield Wrap, and in a wider sense, we're part of something much bigger and grander where Liverpool Football Club is concerned. As and when we move through this week, into next week, into the idea of Liverpool playing pre-season matches, into the idea of Liverpool going on tour, into the idea of Liverpool returning to the transfer market and to that business, the most important thing we can do for each other, and I would say for the wider world, is to give people the benefit of the doubt at every opportunity. Give those players the benefit of the doubt, which I'm sure you all will, but give each other the benefit of the doubt as well, and the Anfield Wrap contributors the benefit of the doubt. What I mean by that, I want to be really clear about this, and I want Neil Atkinson to be the first person to say this. What I mean by that is at some point, someone on a transfer show will say something like, well, of course, we need to make an addition now and attack. When that happens, the person who's saying it is not being callous. The person who's saying it is not being heartless. If someone says that in the outside world, on a podcast, on a national podcast, say Max Rushton or someone like that, Liverpool could do with an attacker now, they're not being callous or heartless either. What they're trying to do is deal with the moment in which they find this club and deal with the reality of the fact that football does just keep going. We know from the past that football does just keep going. We've seen it in so many other instances. So what's important is, where possible, when that happens, whether it's someone on an Anfield Wrap show or it's someone in the wider world or it's someone even that you just overhear down in some sort of social circumstance, the best thing to do is to give people the benefit of the doubt, because the only way we all get through this thing is to get through it together and to get through it with kindness. That is the best way we can approach all of this from this stage. So there will be shows returning from today on the Anfield Wrap. Those shows will be available to you. You don't have to listen to them. You don't have to listen to any part of them. You don't have to listen to some of them. You can choose. Your choice is the most important thing. I want to thank everyone for the kind words they've said about everything that we've done and contributors have done so far. And I want to remind everyone that as far as we've been concerned at the Anfield Wrap all the way through, what's happened from a Liverpool perspective is absolutely awful and it's absolutely draining. We couldn't have more sympathy for those footballers. It would be impossible to have more sympathy for those footballers. But first and foremost, at the heart of all of this is an unbelievable, unspeakable tragedy that's been visited upon one family. It's that family that remains, at the very least, at the very much centre of my thoughts. I'm sure they remain at the centre of yours too. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen, to watch, to everything we do, taking the time to listen, to watch, to this. I hope in terms of however you've been dealing with this, you're able to stay strong. And remember, there's people out there who will help support you. But what our job is to do, first and foremost, is to support each other and very much support the family of Diogo Jota and Andre Silva.